Hey everybody, this is Kent Ashby with One-to-One Marketing. Today I just wanted to put together a little video going over Google Analytics and how golf course owners and operators can use this tool to help improve their marketing efforts and make smarter decisions when it comes to digital marketing or your website or your app or whatever you happen to be tracking with this tool. Just as basically a prerequisite, this has to be installed on your website or app in order to collect data. If you aren't sure or you know that this isn't on your website, you'll need to reach out to your website provider or your IT person or your marketing agency or whoever you're using. Reach out to those people and say, hey, I'd like to use Google Analytics. Could you please provide me access to it? Or could you please install this on my website? I'm assuming that this is done already, but if it's not, please reach out to those people and get it set up because you will want this data. That being said, if you already have it installed on your website, you're going to go to analytics.google.com. So that's how you can get to this page. It'll ask you to sign in to your Gmail or Google associated email. And if you don't have one of those, you can always create one. It's very easy. But just as a prerequisite, all those things need to have taken place already. But once you're in, you'll be brought to this page, and it defaults to audience overview. And in this section, we're going to go over this section, but I just want to go right down this left-hand column list and just go over each section and show you what it does and what it means. So first one is real time. If you go to real time overview, you can see right now in real time what or how many people are on your website, what pages they're visiting, what kind of events are taking place, where they're located. You can get all of those things from this section. So again, you can dive down deeper into each of these. You can look at location and dive down into where exactly at this current moment in time, where this visitor is located. You can see what traffic source they're coming from. So in this case, this person's from Google. Behavior means what pages are they visiting. Events are simply things that we mark up that we have established as something that we want to know more about, like an actionable item that takes place. So whether that's somebody clicking, in this case, it's clicking the Tee Time button, or maybe we want to track form submissions, or we want to track conversions on the booking engine, so how many people booked a Tee Time on the booking engine. All those can be tracked as events. Events that we place value on are called conversions or goals. Those are synonyms. So goals and conversions are simply events that we've marked up, or we have said, please, every time this event takes place, tell me even more about it. Mark it up as a conversion and say, and give me, let me know that this has taken place. So we can see how, in this case, we can see how many people have booked a Tee Time. We can see how many people have booked clicked the Tee Time button, how many people have joined our email club, requested corporate leagues or social events at this facility. All these things we have set up. These are things that we have. It's more of an advanced implementation that you may or may not have with your setup on Google Analytics, but your IT or marketing or website provider should be able to set these up for you if you request them. So if you don't know how to do that, don't worry about it, but I would recommend getting somebody that is familiar with Google Analytics to help you set those goals up if you wish to track those things. This just helps you place more value on your efforts. So the audience section, which we were in before, is going to give you the 30,000-foot view of what's taken place historically on your website. So we're out of the real-time data, and now we're into historical data, things that have already taken place. But anyway, you can look here and see the sessions, which are the number of visits to the website, how many users have been on your website, the number of page views, the amount of pages that somebody visits every time they visit the website, the average visit duration, or session and visits are kind of synonyms. Bounce rate, which a bounce is when someone visits your website and only browses at the page that they landed on and then leaves. So they only browse that one single page and then left. Bounce rate is used as a way of determining if someone was engaged or not. Because if someone is engaged, they're going to browse multiple pages. If they've only browsed the one page that landed on, then we can pretty much determine that person they either got the information that they needed, or they weren't interested in what they had to offer. So, and then also percentage of new sessions, which we can see here, new versus returning visitors, which might interest you as well, to see how many of these people visiting my website are my regulars, the people that visit my website, multiple times a month. So you can see that there. You can also look at things like demographics and the average age of your visitors. So we can see here, there's not a whole lot from 18 to 24, but then as soon as we get into 25 to 34, that makes up a little over 20% of all the traffic to our website. And then you can see it kind of drops off as we get a little bit older here. And then we have male and female. You can see the gender of these visitors, and maybe that'll help you promote more of your women's leagues or your men's leagues, or just help you, give you a better idea of who your customer is. And again, you can drill down into those more here. You can also look at things like interests. Interests are something that we'll use, especially in the advertising world, because if we can see the correlation between travelers, we can see that a lot of the first two segments are travel related. So maybe we know that a good chunk of my customers are from out of town, or they like to travel. So maybe I'll have maybe this would prompt me to put up a billboard in the airport at Denver. This is a golf course in the greater Denver area. So maybe it'll prompt me to put a billboard in the airport. I don't know. That maybe it isn't a good idea, but at the same time, those are the types of things that this information can help you decide. Geo as well. You can look at. You can dive really deep into the location of these visitors. So you can see we've got traffic, but almost all of it's from the United States. Almost all of that is from Colorado. And now we can look at, on the map, we can hover over these and see these different markets that are being shown here. But then we can also just scroll down and say, okay, the Denver area is making up for 23%, Boulder's another 22%. And then you can just go down the list, and maybe one of these will surprise you. Something that we really like to look at, if you look at the right-hand side here, you'll have this drop down. You can choose your different goals, but in this case, we have it set up for e-commerce conversions, which e-commerce conversions, again, are not set up by default. This is something that you'll have to have a more advanced implementation for. And again, your IT person or marketing person or website provider will need to set this up for you unless you're familiar with it. So if we're looking at this, we can actually compare and see, okay, Denver is making up for 23% of all of my sessions, and they've made up for 26%, or $12,871 in tee time revenue. That's what this is. This is e-commerce information that we've pulled from the booking engine. Yeah, you can take a look at this and say, okay, I never thought that Erie was such a big market for us. We have 26 transactions from that area, and it's made up a good chunk of our revenue. Maybe we should do some more marketing there to leverage that popularity that we have in that market. So again, location I think is a pretty important one for golf courses, to see exactly where you're pulling customers from. We have a lot of golf courses that assume that they pull golfers or customers from a certain area, and then analytics tells us a completely different story. So maybe something for you to look into. Behavior, again, we can see new versus returning visitors and the frequency, the amount of times of a user visits the website. Technology, what browser operating system they're using. Mobile, which is kind of an interesting one. You can see if they're on a desktop, on a mobile device, on a tablet, and how much revenue is associated with those different categories. So here you can see the desktop is still king in this case, but for a lot of our golf courses, this is completely flip-flopped. There's more visitors on mobile devices, there's more revenue getting booked via mobile devices, etc. But anyway, acquisition is probably my favorite section. It tells us where these sessions came from or where these visitors came from. So we can see here in this first box, we have our top channels listed out, and we have organic making up for a little over half. When I say organic, that means organic search, or basically traffic from search engines. We can see that over half of our visitors come from search engines. And then we have another, 31% coming from direct, email, referral, etc. And we can see that here, a number of conversions and all of that. But something that I like to look at is, what are the conversion rates of each channel? So we can see that organic's providing us the most traffic. But then we can look here and we see this outlier under conversions. So how many people are booking a tee time? How many people are converting into customers as a result of each channel? And you can see that paid search double the conversion rates of these other channels. So why is that? Well, that's because the people coming from paid search are very highly targeted. So of this 167 visitors that came from this channel, we can say that 13%, a little over 13% converted into customers, which is double any of these other channels. So maybe that's a channel that we want to leverage more and put more time, money, and effort into, because we can see that it's working. If you're running a Google AdWords campaign, you can see all that information in here. It's pretty interesting. If you have e-commerce or booking engine tracking set up, you can see the different campaigns you have running and how much they've generated for you. So in this case, we can say we've spent $308 in total on advertisements in the last 30 days, and we generated a little over $2,600 in tee time revenue from those campaigns. So social, if you have any social media campaigns you're running, Facebook, Twitter, all that will show up in here. You can actually look and see how many visitors are from their Facebook and Yelp page in this instance. Only 6 for each, which isn't a lot, but maybe you can use that information to identify that you have a weakness when it comes to social media. Maybe you need to be putting more effort in that department to help leverage that channel. Under behavior is kind of interesting because it's going to show you what pages on your website are the most popular. Which pages are bringing you the most visitors. So the home page is almost always going to be number one. But then we have like the booking engine, the league setup, go on down the list. There's a bunch of different pages on each of these websites, and they're all going to be unique, so they're not going to look identical to what you have. But this can help identify that, okay, my men's leagues page is getting a ton of traffic. That's obviously a pretty popular one for me. Maybe I can do something similar to what I did here to help boost my ladies tournament or whatever it is, or my ladies leagues, I'm sorry. So you can use that to your advantage. You can look at site content again, what pages are bringing you the most visitors and generating the most views. You can look at site speed, how long it's taking your website to load for visitors, and is that time maybe too much, too high? Is your load speed really slow? But then the last section here is conversions, which is really where the rubber meets the road. And why I say that is it's going to tell us not only how many visitors came to our website, but did they do something that we wanted them to do, which is book a tee time or become a member or fill out a form for a league or inquire about a wedding or banquet. Did these visitors do such a thing? So if we come under goals overview, and again, goals are something that need to be set up by an analytics expert of some sort, or your IT or marketing person. And you can look and here and see again all the things that we're tracking. So if you're a public golf course, you're probably going to care about this one the most, which is how many people completed a tee time booking on my website. And we can see here there was 490 total in the last 30 days that booked a tee time. And we can, break that down into what source those bookings came from. And providing more detail, if you come here under e-commerce and overview, if you have this set up again, you can see that this $55,746 amount is the total amount of bookings that were generated from my website through my booking engine. So that's an important number, but obviously you can get really, really specific with things. So I want to know all the revenue that's associated with people from search engines. So this 34,136, this number is indicative of the people that booked a tee time, the revenue amount for the people that booked a tee time through a search engine. So they came from Google, they went to my website, they went to my booking engine, and they booked a tee time. And this is the revenue amount associated with those bookings. You can also segment it by Facebook. You could segment it by Twitter. You could segment it by your email newsletters that you send out. All of those things can be tracked very specifically. And then you can see your average order amount, the number of transactions, the conversion rate. You can see all of that here. And this is something, like I mentioned, is a little bit more advanced, but I really feel like this is the missing piece for golf course owner operators, because this information here, especially these revenue figures, are going to be able to show you all of that time, money, and effort you're putting into Facebook. Is it worth it? Is it generating you income? Are people booking a tee time from those posts? If they're not, maybe you should reevaluate your time spent on that. Maybe instead of posting every day, you dial it back to 2 or 3 times a week, because you know that time isn't well spent or isn't worth spending on social media or posting on Instagram or whatever it may be that you're putting time, money, and effort into. This should solidify or give you 100% confidence of whether or not that effort and that money is best spent there, or maybe it's better spent somewhere else that you can identify with Google Analytics. Without going into too much more detail, I just wanted to show you guys what this could do, what the possibilities are with Google Analytics, and give you guys some ideas of how to use it a little bit better to make smarter marketing decisions. And if you guys do have any questions about this, or this video prompted you to take a look at your Google Analytics, shoot me an email and let me know if you have any questions. My email address is Kent, K-E-N-T, at 121marketing.com. That's number 1, number 2, number 1, marketing.com. Shoot me an email. I'm glad to help walk you through this and better understand this, and hopefully it can make you a little bit smarter marketer in the future and improve your overall marketing results and help you quantify things a little bit better. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.